Hey there, true believers. Welcome back. David Eon here in the video game room, and today I am having a discussion with you about autograph hunting. You go to a lot of these shows, a lot of these sci-fi conventions, comic book conventions, whatever, retro toy conventions. I just came from Retro Toy, actually, not too long ago. My wife, Lady Pop Hunter, and we did a virtual tour of it, which you can find on this channel. But at that show, I met Gil Gerard and got his signature on my original Mego 12.5-inch Buck Rogers. I also got the Tweaky signed by Felix Silla. And people are like, oh wow, yeah, that's going to add a lot of value to it. No, it's not. It's not going to add any value to it. As a matter of fact, it could even end up taking value away from the item. And I'm talking about this primarily because in the last couple of years, particularly, I've been seeing a lot of autograph hunters running around with pops, Funko Pops. A lot of people in pop culture getting autographs to add value, and it doesn't work. And in the Funko Pop community, even though they want to, a lot of the fun addicts are like, oh yeah, Funko's going to last forever. They're still kind of nervous, and they're still looking for ways to retain value on their pops. So they're running around and getting a lot of autographs. But it's not adding value to these items at all, in my experience. And I'm going to remind you, for those of you who are new and you don't know this, if you've been watching, you know this already. But I've been doing this since the late 80s. About 1988-ish, I started collecting, buying, selling, and trading. Started with comic books, worked my way into toys, so on and so forth. I did sports memorabilia for a while. I got away from it because sports memorabilia is tough. You can't give that stuff away. There's way too much of it. And sports started with the whole autograph thing long before it got into pop culture. All right? And that's also the reason why there's so many counterfeit sports items out there. You really got to be careful in that industry. You've really got to be careful in that industry. But for the most part, I mean, their stuff isn't worth anything, but it's getting that way with a lot of pop culture stuff too. Do not get autographs for investment potential. And like I said, I've seen this a lot in the Funko Pop community over the last couple of years, where they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get this signature or that signature to add some value, but the amount that you're paying to add that value, you're not going to be able to recover it. Most autographs, modern autographs, okay? Because back in the day when people rarely did it, like if you have an autograph from Houdini, that's worth something. If you got an autograph from John Wayne, people who rarely ever did it, there was no public signings, that kind of stuff did not go on. But nowadays, when it's a culture thing, there's tons of autographs out there. I'll give you an example. One of the first people that I ever met on the convention circuit doing autographs, Lou Ferrigno. And I met him, I want to say, in 1992. And he was already going around to sci-fi shows doing signings before I met him. And he's still doing it. How many hundreds of thousands or even a million or more signatures do you think Lou Ferrigno has doled out over the last few decades? I mean, think about that, because you're like, oh, I'll get my Hulk Pop signed, and it's going to be worth something because it's Lou Ferrigno's signatures on it now. No, Lou Ferrigno signs everything. That's what he does now. He doesn't act. I mean, he might have a cameo appearance here or there. He had a cameo in the Hulk movie. You get the idea. But Lou, he's not acting anymore. This is his job, is going around to shows and doing signings. It's not adding value. So, as I pointed out, I just got Gil Gerard's signature, and I showed this on Instagram, and this is a really cool one, and even Gil was impressed. If you see the video, you can see me talking to Gil Gerard on the tour, because he was commenting that this is one of the cleanest ones he's ever seen. He was like, God, this looks like the one I have that I've kept locked in the closet for the last 40 years. They're usually not in this kind of shape. They're not. He's like, wow, it's not green, but I got it signed for the nostalgic value. So let's use this as an example. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that this is worth about $100. just the toy. Not saying it's actually worth that much, but it just make it easier to calculate this. So this figure is worth $100. Okay, so I pay $100 for the vintage Mego figure. I'm into it for $100. Now it's $15 to get into the show. $40 for Gil Gerard's signature, because that's what he charges. Now, without being able to prove that Gil signed this, that signature has no value. So now I got to go and get it professionally graded if I really want to do that. So you go to PSA's grading chart, and I'll show you PSA's grading page here because they got the names of all the people they'll certify. And you look for Gil Gerard, he's on there. $20 they're going to charge for Gil Gerard, plus postage. So you got to pay to mail it to them, and you got to pay for them to mail it back. You're into this for like at least another $40 now. So when you add all that up, you've invested about $215 in this action figure now, right? And more if you want to count like the expense of getting to the show and back. I mean, you might have spent $20 in gas getting there. I mean, if you want to add that in, but let's say you've spent at least $215 invested in this so far. And with PSA DNA grading, and I put this up for sale, I'd be lucky to get my $100 back, because that's how it works. It's not going to retain value. But like I said, the reason I had it signed was for the nostalgic value. Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, that's one of the coolest of the 70s sci-fi genre television shows. I love this show. There's this and Battlestar Galactica and Space 1999. I mean, the 70s produced some really great sci-fi TV programs. Logan's Run. People don't remember Logan's Run because it had a TV show associated with the movie. I bet you didn't know that. Some people didn't. Okay, but that's Gil Gerard. Gil Gerard's not major. Well, let's look at a big one. Stanley. And this one is a Spider-Gwen number 2. Signed by Stanley, limited of 25. And this is number 1 of 25. And it is already certified by Dynamic Forces. Problem with this is no one will recognize someone else's grading authority. So a collector would be like, oh, okay, but if I wanted to send this in to be graded, like if I wanted to send this into CGC, they'll say writing on cover in their description, because they're not going to accept this. They're not going to accept this. Most people won't. If I sent this into PSA, they would want their own grading. They don't acknowledge Dynamic Forces. No grading authority is going to acknowledge another grading authority. But okay, I've still got that. Well, this is worth how much? Let's take a look at a Stanley autograph, and we'll take a look at a Stanley autograph on a Funko Pop for sake of argument, because we were already talking about it. And this one is already sold. This is from Sold Auctions on eBay. Stanley autograph on a Hulk Avengers Pop with a certificate of authenticity, and that's sold for about $150. Okay, this guy did not make his money back. Here's your example. How much was Stan Lee charging for autographs? Have you seen Stan Lee at a show before he passed away? Because you would think, oh, he's passed away, he's dead now, his signature would be more. Not really. Stan Lee made a ton of autographs. Stan Lee signed anything. If you look up Stan Lee autograph on eBay, you'll probably find 5,000 listings. He signed that much stuff, and he charged a lot for it, depending upon the show, anywhere from $100 to $150 for a Stan Lee autograph. It wasn't cheap. So if this guy paid $150 for the autograph, paid about $20 again, I think, or is it $30? If you looked at PSA, I didn't look at Global Authentics, but if you open up PSA, let's take a look at Stan Lee on here on PSA. $35 to certify if you go to PSA. So let's say he paid $150 for this, and then $35 for the authentication, right? Now he's into this for $185 plus postage both ways. That's going to be, they're going to insist on a certain amount of postage and insurance, so at least $30, right? $205 this guy paid, and now he only got 150. He got the value of the autograph back, plus the cost of the Hulk pop, which probably wasn't that much, another 10 or 15 bucks. But you see the point here. And then he's going to pay PayPal and eBay listing fees. He did not make his money back, even on a major autograph like Stanley. Or Hulk Hogan is another good example. Hulk Hogan's autographs are not cheap. He charges quite a bit for them. But that, again, is my point. Do not do this. Don't collect autographs because they're going to be worth a lot. Collect the autographs because it means something to you, which is really the whole point of collecting in the first place. Are you collecting stuff because, and like I said, I buy, sell, and trade too. I mean, well, I sell and I trade, not as much as I used to. As I was big in the 90s, really, but I've just dabbled. I do it off and on now because I'm kind of retired from that. But do this because you love it. Do this because you love it. Like I said, when I got this one done just recently, and I got the Tweaky signed also by Felix Silla, it was because I used to love watching that show. I could still watch that show. Sometimes when you watch a show when you're a kid and you think it's great, and you go back and watch it again, and you're like, wow, this sucks. This isn't cool at all. This isn't like I remember it because you were a younger person and your tastes have changed. I could still watch Buck Rogers. So I have some fond memories of that show. It's like, yeah, it'd be nice to talk to Gil Gerard for a few minutes and get it signed. So I did, but it's not going to add value. So don't run around getting autographs thinking that you're going to make your item worth more, because you're not, and you're just going to frustrate yourself when you turn around and try to sell the stuff. Do it because you just would like to have that moment. You'd like to meet that person. You would like to take something away from it, have a memory of it, something to feed into the nostalgia of why you got involved in collecting in the first place, just like the main reason, hopefully, that you collect anything else. So, I mean, I hope I haven't crushed anybody's spirits out there, because I know a lot of people, like I said, I've seen this especially a lot in Funko Pop collecting in the last couple of years, because despite how hardcore fun addicts want to act, they're nervous about values too, especially with the Funko roller coaster ride that's been going on the last couple of years, and whether or not they're around forever or not doesn't mean their stuff's going to be worth anything. And so they go, oh yeah, man, and I've heard this a few times. If you're in the Atlanta area, there's Plastic Empire, which is actually a really nice collectible toy store that I visited a few times, and they do signing sessions. And I hear a lot of the guys that come in, one of the big things that they get signed there is pops. If you they bring in a celebrity that's connected to a pop so that they can get rid of a bunch of pops. It's just good business. But it's cool if you want to meet that person and get a signature. But I've gone to a couple of those, and all I hear is a lot of people saying, yeah, man, you're going to add some value to this, and it'll help help my pops to hold their value. Dude, don't just go pay $25 to $50 for an autograph because you think it's going to be worth more, because it's not. Anyway, let me know what you think about all of that in the comment sections down below. Please do give the video a thumbs up. I hope you got something out of it. Share it if you can. Subscribe if you're new. Check out some of our other videos. We do a lot of stuff on this channel, and the more of you there are, the more we can do here. Find us on Instagram, Open by Chance on Instagram, and watch out for us on Facebook. We're going to get the Facebook fan page up and running so that we can stay connected with people in case there's issues with the whole COPPA and FCC thing that YouTube is going through, where they've made a lot of threats against collectors' channels. So we'll just see where that all goes. Thanks for watching, and we will see you again soon.